Thanks for stopping by. Let me start with a snapshot of my portfolio. Today is February 7th, 2025. My total value is $40,752. You can see my cash is about $24,500, using a little bit over $16,000 in margin, and the overall portfolio is down about 6.24%. I have 7 high yield funds, 5 yield max funds, and 2 round tail funds. My biggest position is QDTE with about $14,000, XDTE with about $9,000, and my biggest yield max fund is about $8,000 of YMAX, and then you can see the rest that I have. And I started doing this in May of last year, and my overall goal is to increase my monthly dividend month after month while maintaining my capital with these high yield funds. Easier said than done. But if we look at February, I'm anticipating more like 1450, probably closer to 1500. That's because I've upped a few positions, spent a little bit more margin, added a little bit more money. So let's take a look at how I'm going to get there. We'll look at my round tail funds first, the QDTE and the XDTE. Now today, with the market down, especially the NASDAQ, I went ahead and I bought 10 more shares, bringing my share count to 352. But you can see I'm expecting 4 paydays this for February, and I'm anticipating $1 for the month for both Q and X. Now we're already below that, so I'm hoping that the next 2-3 weeks will up that average. And as far as Misty, 145 shares, I plugged in $1.99, right? Could be more, could be less. CONY, it's already locked in. We just had, it got paid today, $1.04. At the time, I had 200 shares. What I did is I just reinvested those dividends minus the 30% tax. So now I have 212. YMAX, I'm hoping will pay 70 cents for the month. Again, it had a decent payout of 19 cents for the first week. And then in Biddy, I just added 50 shares this past Wednesday. And you can see my last position is Tesla. I still have those 51 shares. So now with these updated stats, it says I'm going to give out $1,500. So there's a ballpark range what I'll make in February. I'm thinking between $1,450 to $1,500. All right, with these yield max and round tail funds, every Friday is a payday. So today is Friday and it's a payday. February 7, 2025. I have my 3 weekly pairs of YMAX, XDTE, and QDTE. And then I have that 1 monthly pair supporting these weekly pairs of CONY. So this week, CONY was the monthly pair. And if you're new to these types of funds that pay weekly, I have 500 shares. The declaration or the distribution was about 19 cents a share, 97. You just do the multiplication, $97.20. You can see the other 3 funds, the share amount versus the distributions, what I made for each fund. CONY was a pretty big player this month. 200 shares that I owned at $1.04 a share for $209. But you add them all up, $417 for the week. Again, on my visual screenshot at the beginning of this video, I'm putting 30% into Boo for my taxes. The rest I reinvested. So for these funds, I basically minus the 30%, threw these all back into these funds to increase the share count. And next week, I believe, is the Misty payday. Okay, let's do a quick portfolio review. These are screenshots of what happened today on February 7th, 2025. This is today's gain or loss. And you can see CONY, Misty, and Vidi were positive. The rest were pretty much deep red, especially my QDTE and my XDTE. And Tesla's just fallen like a rock. So I don't know about that one. But I also want to point out I have a lot of buying power left. I'm trying to think what my next big move, if any big move, would be. You know, I do want to buy some more MSTY or Misty, but if I do, I'll wait till next week or next Thursday on ex-dividend day. I don't know if I'll increase my XDT position because it's holding a snap really well, even during these down days or these down weeks, for example. And with these screenshots, this is a total gain or loss since I've opened each position. If you look at CONY, it's down 19%. That's looking a little bit ugly. My main focus, though, is on QDTE and XDTE and YMAX, since they're the 3 biggest positions in my portfolio. I want to massage those up. You know, the goal is to get all these funds capital flat or zero while paying the distributions, if not appreciation. And again, it's all when you get into these funds. And that's the challenge. So now I'm putting my dividends back into these funds to help lower my average cost. And if you're in these funds, that you know that the funds have a hard time recovering from a bad day or a bad week, because they get all the downside, but they're capped on their upside. And this right here is the real deal. This is the reality. This is the number I look at, this negative 6.24%, or the negative $2,700 that I'm down. Again, my first initial goal is to get this at least to negative 3%, but it's been a very choppy market for 2025, especially the past couple weeks. So hopefully we'll have a better week next week. I need one huge day, or I just need to be consistently going up and to the right to get this to negative 3%. But I believe by increasing my XDT position, it seems to be holding its NAV a lot better. That might be a goal of mine, to start putting some more money into this position. And if you want to take a detailed look into each of these positions, go ahead and hit pause and zoom in, zoom out. But again, I'm just focused on these two numbers here. I want to get this to zero. I want to get both of these numbers to zero while collecting those dividends. And now a little more detailed look into each position. This is CONY. It's been hit hard. My NAV has gone down. I'm down 19%, or about $16. A big part of that is the $1.04 distribution that it just had. But anyway, I reinvested those distributions minus the taxes. Brought my average cost down from $15.07 to $14.90. Went from 200 shares to 212. You can see CONY was up 15 cents today, finished the day at $12.05. And then we're looking at Misty right here. I think I added about 5 shares or so throughout this week. I now have 145 shares. Lowered my average cost some to $29.13. I thought Misty was going to finish up a lot better than it did, but at least it finished green, up 26 cents, finishing at $26.73. I really think that next X dividend, if they pay $2 or so, would be a nice time to buy a big chunk of that, or a fairly nice chunk of that, to help lower my average cost. NVIDIA, I did make a move. You can see right here on February 6th, which I believe, what was that, Thursday? Yeah, just yesterday, I bought 50 shares, an average cost of $19.80. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have bought it, I think it was $18.80 just a few days before that. But anyway, I lowered my average cost from $22.55 to $21.18. So now I own 100 shares, and NVIDIA has been climbing itself out of that hole ever since that scare with that Chinese company. Finished up today 21 cents at $20.29. All right, next on the list is Tesla. My smallest position dollar-wise, 51 shares. My average cost, you can see, is $13.51. It's all the way down to $12.19. Had a horrible day, down 35 cents, finishing at $12.19. YMAX, my third largest position from YieldMax. Again, I reinvested the dividends that it paid this week back into it, minus the taxes. Went from 500 shares to 504 shares. It lowered my average cost by a penny, so now I'm at $17.40. Had a little bit of a down day today, down 4 cents, finishing at $16.44. Here's QDTE from Roundtail, my biggest position. Again, you can see down here, I added 10 shares, 5 shares at a time today. Lowered my average cost from 42 and a penny to 41.94. I now own 352 shares. And again, it was a blood red day for the NASDAQ and QDTE, down 43 cents, finishing at $39.71. I expect this to bounce back nicely though. And then my final position, the XDTE, 178 shares, an average cost of $51.84. Again, follows the S&P 500, blood red, down 42 cents, finishing the day at $49.97. All right, now we're jumping back to this screenshot. You can see all my positions, but you can see the corresponding dollar amount that I have for each position. If you add up all these dollar amounts, you're going to get $40,752. And if we take a peek up here at this net debit, this 16,225, that's how much margin I am using. So if I were to liquidate all my positions, Fidelity, my brokerage account, is going to get their $16,225 back, and I'd be left with $24,527. And you can see right here, I was down today about 0.71%, or $174. And then you can see this graph right here from year to date, how choppy it's been. And to finish off the video, side-by-side shots. The left side is January 31st versus today. You can see the value and could compare it. But the ones I'm looking at right now is last week I was down negative 5.3%, and now I'm down negative 6.24%. So basically I lost about 1% of value in my portfolio, but the market has been down. But there you go, folks. The challenge of yield max and these round-tailed funds, these high yield dividends. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, folks.